YouTube, it's your boy FPLK man, and I'm back here with a brand new video. And today I've got for you my Game Week 30 team review as well as my Game Week 31 team selections. We're also going to touch on the fact that the doubles as well as the blanks for Game Week 34 and 33 has been announced. So, as per the predictions from Rob TFPL as well as Planet FPL, Ben Krillin, and all the others, the fixtures has come to what we have predicted. And Wildcard 30 somewhat worked out, but at the same time, it's been a tragedy with so many injuries. I think I got about 5 players that are down right now, and Gabriel is out for the season. So there's absolute chaos. Without further ado, let's dive in. So there you have it. As you guys can see, your boy actually had a small red arrow in game week 30. Overall, 48 points after a wild card. Normally, you do get a red card, but ideally, you want a green arrow, but it never goes as to plan. Although I had so many players that looked really good on paper, I had good fixtures, the likes of Sarr, Munoz, Mateta, who had Southampton. I also had Guardiola, who did return, as well as Marmoush. They played Leicester. Unfortunately, Gabriel did get injured, and I got him from the bench. I actually benched him, and Clivert was a doubt, so I took a bit of a gamble there. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. It seems like his injury is much more than what I anticipated. I thought it was originally just fatigue, so I thought he'd probably maybe get maybe 20, 30 minutes from the bench. Unfortunately, it seems like it may be longer than that. So I might have dropped the ball on that. And I think that's one of my biggest mistakes on the wild card. And then you got Palmer, again, disappointing, only to get 6 points versus Spurs. It's something, but at the same time, it's not what I expected. Whereas Saka just came off the bench and got 8-pointer. And I would have said the transfer in game week 33, where originally that was the book transfer to bring in Saka. And at the moment, Saka is matching him with limited minutes. That guy didn't kick a ball for 3 months and he's matching Palmer. Actually, outscoring Palmer. He's got 8 points. So, really disappointed, especially with the Palace boys. They looked awful. They were tired. I think they just because they played the FA Cup fixture versus Fulham. So they had a bit of a tired legs and they didn't look too good. And then you got Nico Williams, the clean sheet. I'm glad I started him. Raya and Arsenal defense has been disappointing. I can't believe I still kept the double Arsenal defense on my wild card. And that was to do with my long-term strategy, to be honest. But at the same time, I feel like I've had them, for a long time. I don't want to be in them anymore. So, bit of a crap week. Ultimately, if I didn't wildcard, I would be on, I think, around 42 points. So I did gain like 6 points by wildcarding. But was it worth it when the likes of, Clivert says still a doubt? I mean, Gabriel getting injured. The likes of Gordon and Isak, even Trippier being a doubt, which we're going to cover on the next team selection. I have a lot of players that are doubt at the moment. Small red arrow, old rank was 345, now 402. Not the end of the world. I simply wildcarded due to the long-term strategy. I could have easily waited for 31, but I also had the likes of Haaland, Chris Wood, Clivert, so many other players being a doubt. So it wasn't looking the best on paper, if I'm being honest. So I don't regret it. It's just that unfortunately I've got so many injuries. So yeah, let's move on to my Game Week 31 team selection. So as you guys can see, for Game Week 31, I'm lining up with Raya, Munoz, Guardiola, and Trippier at the back. Just to note that Trippier is a bit of a doubt. He did feel, I think, a bit of a hamstring maybe, or I think groin injury. He's got a bit of a groin injury. It's a small doubt, but you never know with Eddie Howe. He's always lying. Apparently, he felt a bit of cramp on his groin. Not sure exactly how significant the injury is. He did walk off the pitch fine when I was watching the game. I think he got subbed around the 89th minutes or something. So he did play quite a bit of minutes. Again, he's old. I wonder because I wanted to be a bit different because the template was to go for a Burn or Livramento. And I thought going for Trippier may be a bit of a differential and I might get a bit more attacking threat from him. And it's looking like a rough one at the moment. And then moving on to the midfield, you got Salah, Gordon, Palmer, and Clivert. Again, Gordon seems to be injured. And what I thought originally was, it was not a major injury. It was just a small bruise that he picked up in the international break versus England. Now, it seems like he still hasn't been in full training, as per Eddie Howe's quotes. So he's also a doubt to play versus Leicester. And oh my goodness, I cannot believe I have picked Gordon and Clivert, who are both doubts. I mean, going into the game week 30, my biggest regret is obviously Clivert. I should have definitely taken him out for someone else. But Gordon, I thought he was just suspended and his injury was small. It's two big mistakes, I think, with Clivert and Gordon, especially if Gordon doesn't play versus Leicester. So very disappointed. And again, Palmer, another disappointing. I sold him and then I've got him back on my wildcard because of the fixtures that he had with Spurs, Brentford, and Ipswich. But maybe I should have saved the transfer and gone into Saka. I know I might sound like I'm whining a lot in this video, but I'm sorry, guys. It's just been really, really disappointing to have want Gabriel, Isak, Gordon, Kluivert, Trippier all being a doubt. I've just wildcarded like 2 days ago. Like, that's really, really unfortunate. But it is what it is. What can you do? You adapt. We move. At the end of the day, that's what we can do. There's no point of dwelling on it. And then you got up front, you got Mateta, Marmoush, and Isak. As I said, Isak is still a doubt because he did feel also his groin somewhat. That's what Eddie Howe said. You can never trust that guy. Because of the fixture, I currently have it on him. But my advice is on Salah. I'm hoping if Isak doesn't play, he doesn't come off the bench, so that at least Salah will, cover me as a captaincy. My bench at the moment, you got Verbruggen versus Palace, Sarr with Brighton, Nico Williams versus Villa, and Gabriel versus Everton. The reason why I have Kluivert ahead of Sarr is because I'm already doubled up on Palace. I don't mind starting Sarr ahead of Kluivert, which I could very well do if I get a bit more news. But at the moment, it does seem like Kluivert is probably out for the weekend. I think Ariola mentioned that he's not yet ready to play. I mean, come on. He said originally it was just fatigue. Now all of a sudden he's not ready even after 2 weeks. It's ridiculous. Unbelievable. I have one free transfer and I've got so many fires to put out. The likes of Gabriel, who's out for the season. Potentially Trippier also injured. Potentially Gordon still injured. Kluivert still injured. There's so many injuries. I don't know. I personally do not know what to do at the moment. I'm just going to hope for the best and roll this week because I do want to bench boost in game week 32. So I want to get as much information as possible on these players like Kluivert, Gordon, Trippier, Isak, and whatnot. And then I can make a better decision come game week 32, whether to take a hit or whether to basically transfer out, either Gordon or Kluivert. I'm most likely leaning toward maybe taking out Kluivert for one of the Villa mids, or perhaps I may go to a City mids. You never know. Let's see. As I said, I'm not going to make a transfer. Worst case, Sarr and Nico Williams will come in for the likes of Kluivert or Trippier or Gordon. I'm just hoping at least like out of the 4 players that are down right now, which is Kluivert, Isak, Gordon, and Trippier, at least 2 of them start. That way, Nico and Sarr can cover me for this week. It's about survival for me, let's be honest. Game week 31 is not looking good, boys. It's not looking good. So now let's move on to the injury summary for game week 31 because there's a lot more players that are doubts as well as injured for game week 31. So at first, you got Fofana, Lavia, Veltman, Aina, Richards, and Wood. They're all ruled out. Aina, I think he got injured in game week 30, so he won't be available for 31. And then you've got Watkins, who's also a doubt. Apparently, he's dealing with some knee issues. You got Bailey just coming back, I think, but again, he's doubtful to start. You got Davis and Delit is also doubtful. You got Shaw, you got White, Timber, Van der Ben, Kluivert, Isak, Trippier, Gordon, Bradley, Richarlison. All of them are doubt. And then you got fitness-wise, you got Barkley, Maino, Kosanov, NDA, Todibo, Kudus, and Hudson-Odoi are considered to be fit. Now, again, that does not mean they're all going to start. It's just for you guys to, get a summary and understanding of, what's the latest news and the availability of the players, especially if you're, on Wildcard. I think the key thing to note is the fact that the Arsenal boys, a lot of people are looking for Gabriel replacement, and they may have wanted to go to a Timber or White, or maybe even Saliba. Knowing that they're a doubt, I personally just avoid maybe, and I'll just probably just go for Raya. Even then, I don't like Raya. But yeah, just have one Arsenal defender. I'll probably go, my preference would probably be Saliba and then Raya. And White and Timber I'll probably not touch because of they're also, dealing with injury. And you just want to pick players that are fit, and you don't want to make the same mistakes that I've made with picking the likes of Gordon as well as Kluivert. So yeah, now let's move on to the announcement, the fixtures that's been announced for Game Week 33 as well as the blank in Game Week 34. So for Game Week 33, as you guys can see, Villa are doubling, Arsenal are doubling, Palace will be doubling, as well as Man City. These are the 4 teams that will be doubling in Game Week 33. A lot of people are looking at bench boosting Game Week 32 as well as 33. I personally prefer 32 because it helps me navigate 34 as I'm not using a free hit. However, if you are using a free hit, you can very well get 9, 12, or 10 doublers and, free hit at 34. You can very well do that. So yeah, let's now move on to Game Week 34 blanks. As you guys can see, for blank Game Week 34, you got the likes of Arsenal, Villa, Palace, and City who are all blanking. The reason why they're blanking is because they're doubling in 33 and the 34 fixtures has been brought forward to 33. However, there are still quite a few fixtures, good fixtures left. You got the likes of, Wolves versus Leicester. I mean, you can definitely buy Cunha, Nori. You got Bournemouth versus United. You can definitely invest into the, likes of whoever you prefer, either Evan Olsen, Semenyo, Kluivert if he's fit by then. You also have Brighton versus West Ham, it's another good fixture. Chelsea versus Everton, it's a bit of a mixed bag. I don't think it's an easy fixture for Chelsea. They do struggle versus them. And then you got Newcastle versus Ipswich, prime fixture to target. Most of us will probably be tripled up on Newcastle. And then you got Brentford versus Forest. I mean, you got if your Chris Wood is back by then, definitely could target him. The likes of Elanga, Forest defender, everyone should have one of them. And then Fulham versus Southampton, you can definitely maybe look at Robinson in a free hit. So yeah, now let's look at the projections for the rest of the season for the doubles as well as blanks, especially in 36 and 37. So if you're going back based on the doubles as well as the blanks from Planet FPL projections, as you guys can see, we are projected to get a double game week for Villa as well as Man City, as well as Bournemouth, obviously Spurs as well. So these are the teams that will obviously be most likely doubling due to the fact that if they qualify to the FA Cup finals. So Palace versus Villa. If Villa go through, they will double in 36. If Palace go through, they will double. However, if Man City and Forest play, Forest will also double, if they go through. And if not, City will double. So I do think Villa assets and City assets are quite key, especially if you load up on them in game week 33 for the double. And then you can free hit them out in 34 on their blank. And then you can carry them over to 36. However, the challenge will then be for you is to navigate 37 blank. And with my strategy, I'm looking to free in 36. And some of you will probably be looking at navigating with free transfers. So, just a caution, I think that'll be very difficult. I would say the one that I've looked at as the best strategy is if you have your free hit, as well as you have your wild card, or you've used your wild card last week. I mean, it might be a bit more difficult now, but if you have your wild card and free hit, I recommend wild card in 31, preparing a bench boost for 32, and then not go too heavy on the doublers in 33. Maybe have one or two maximum City assets. Same with Villa, I'd say probably one Villa assets, and I'd probably say to have triple Newcastle for sure. I'd say at least have one or two Forest guys, and I would say you have like three Palace, or two Palace, based on who you prefer. That way you'll have enough players to navigate 34 blank and be able to free hit in 36 and have enough players for 37. I do think that is the best way to navigate these upcoming blanks as well as doubles. Let me know what you guys think. I did cover them in my last video. If you didn't watch that, make sure to go check it out. I also have a wildcard draft for you guys for this cheap strategy, which I will show you right now. So let's move on to the wildcard draft for game week 31. So as you guys can see, there's not really much difference from the wildcard that I've done, except I guess there are two main differences. Is that I don't have Gordon because again his injury, niggles, whatever, bruises, and he's not playing. It's unbelievable. For bruises not playing, it's ridiculous. And then you've got Saka instead of Palmer, and I guess Livramento instead of Trippier. So pretty much the wildcard is pretty much the same. I guess I've got Konate instead of Cucurella, and Nico Williams, the Forest defender. Again, keep in mind, guys, this wildcard, you still have 4.2 million in the bank. If you choose to upgrade the likes of Eze, or if you want to upgrade Rodgers or Konate to Van Dijk, you can do that. You can upgrade Verbruggen to Sales if you want as well. You can get Saliba if you want as well. So there's a lot of options within this draft that you could do because there's enough money. I just want to mention one thing is the way this draft is drafted is simply to favor the strategy that I'm on, which is currently to wildcard 30/31, bench boost 32, navigate 33 double from the wildcard in 31, and then navigate with free transfers in gaming 34, free hit 36, a double, and obviously, and then you have enough players in 37 to navigate that blank as well. That is what I think is the best strategy. Again, if you want more details on that, definitely check out the Roundtable FPL podcast, as well as my last video that I did last week, which I do go through every single week by week on how the team will look. I think this strategy is still viable, and I do think it's one of the best strategies available. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. That'll be it. If you have any further questions, do ask me in the comment section below. I'll do my best to respond to them. And if you have further questions or you want to ask about your team, join my deadline stream. I do go live at least around an hour or 2 hours before the deadline. I'll be live tomorrow. So if you have any dilemmas and whatnot, I'll definitely go through them. If you want to reach out to me on X, you can definitely check it out on our platform, X, TikTok, Instagram, fplcommunity. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to smash the like button, subscribe, and I'm going to see you guys next week. Peace out.